Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome all to the 2025 annual board meeting. The agenda. Speaking today would be myself, the president of the board treasurer, Joe, Vivian, our GM, Mike Riley, our director of golf, and Kelly, our director of food and beverage. And the rest of our board is here. If you guys could all just please introduce yourselves. Oh, you have to introduce us. Steve Balakwa, our vice president. Joanne Ellison, our secretary. Donna Gruninger, board member. Kathleen Satoris, board member. Mike O'Donnell, and emeritus, and Marty O'Shea. Len Alcantara will be missing in action today. He's not feeling well. Who's he?
I'm sorry? There you go.
Okay. Also like to introduce our 2025 committee chairs. If you're here, please stand. Mike Odell, ALC, Charlotte James, Events Committee, David Taylor, Finance Committee, Andy Timothy, Golf, Bill Clarkin, Investment Committee, Vivian Timian, 401k Investment Committee, Tim Mahana, Property and Roads, Howard Cohen, Recreation and Health, John Alton, Rules and Compliance, Laverne Chris, Unit Rep. These people do a lot for us and a lot for the community and dedicate a lot of their time, and we certainly do appreciate the help that they give the board. Next. President's report. So I'll start by our Saddlebrook One vision statement to be the active adult community of choice in Arizona. Our mission statement: provide active adults with a community that enriches their lives with updated amenities, clear and transparent rules and governance, timely responses to residents, physical responsibility, protection and enhancement of property values, and a strong sense of community. A board's primary functions: advocacy for the community. Board members must act in the best interest of the association, making decisions that protect our property values and enhance resident experiences. Financial oversight. We oversee budgets and ensure financial records are audited annually. Compliance with laws and governing documents. Board members must follow Arizona HOA laws, enforce CC&Rs, and adhere to fiduciary duties. Meetings and communication requirements. Boards must hold regular board meetings, provide transparent communication to homeowners, and comply with Arizona's open meeting law. Maintenance and management. Overseeing common areas and ensuring the association property is properly insured. Our goals for 2024. Our first goal was to maintain and improve financial position of Saddlebrook One. The objective to achieve favorable results to the 2024 budget. Goal one, how did we do? The operations net income loss, which is the excess or deficiency of revenues over expenses. So we had budgeted a $641,000 deficit in 2024, and the actual deficit was $671,000, worse by $30,000. But during 2024, a decision was made to pull forward a road project, which was a $215,000 expenditure. So had the decision not been made to pull the road project forward, we actually would have had a favorable $185,000 budget variance. Regarding the financials, our treasurer will speak more to those in a few minutes. Our goal, too, is to ensure that our replacement reserve fund and the capital improvement fund were adequately funded. The objective was to continue to apply and develop our financial planning and management processes, including completing and incorporating the 2024 reserve study. So how did we do? We met our goal. We'll be incorporating the information gleaned from the report into our future planning. The inspection date for we actually had the company to come out and do a physical inspection of our assets, and that took place November 6th through the 10th, and they provide us with the report March 6, 2024. The report concluded that our reserves at this time were properly funded and that our future budgeted funding exceeded the amount they recommended by the reserve study. So we were basically ahead of the game, and we're putting in more than the reserve study indicated would be necessary to adequately fund the reserves. Goal 3, to maintain and update our existing amenities in accordance with our 10-year planning projections. So all of our assets have a time frame for when the expected life is to run out, and we have to have money available to replace those assets when needed. So how did we do? We met our goal. Some of the significant updates included the following: a stormwater management near Catalina Golf Course, hole number 1. We did the carpeting in the dining area, last phase of the soil remediation on the golf course, paving projects for road on Ridgeview, and the roads are obviously a big expense for this community, so last year it was $764,000 that we spent in maintaining our roads. But you must all have to admit that our roads are pretty nice. We also did 4 new billiard tables at the Catalina Rec Center. Plans for our Creative Arts and Wellness Center are proceeding with plans to begin construction in mid-2026. Input from residents of both HOAs and clubs, along with information from one town hall, has been considered. And another town hall date to be determined, where we'll be determining the cost of the project, will be held sometime this year. And the amenities that we have, it's part of the board's fiduciary responsibility to maintain our assets that we have in our community. And I think with management's help, they are doing a great job of that. Goal 4, to continue to build a framework that future boards will expand upon over time that will strengthen the bonds and interdependence between both homeowners associations per the joint statement of Saddlebrook 1 and Saddlebrook 2 that was dated April of 2022. How did we do? We feel we met our goal. Numerous meetings were held between both vice president and presidents of both HOAs to discuss areas of common concerns of the community. Numerous meetings were held between the 2 HOA committees, striving to work together and, where possible, work towards unifying rules and regulations. The general manager and staff of both communities are in frequent communication. We held a joint meeting between the presidents, vice presidents, general managers, and the board liaisons for the SPAC committee, where we discussed common area projects such as the Firewise program. And finally, goal 5, to keep Saddlebrook 1 moving forward towards achieving its vision and mission, to complete the draft of the 5-year plan after reviewing input from the community and management. How did we do? A task force was chaired by Joe O'Connor, which included Steve Belacqua, Kathleen Satoris, and Mike Odell, with much input from our residents and management. The 5-year plan was completed and approved by the board in July of 2024. And right now, that concludes my report, and I will turn it over to our treasurer, Joe O'Connor. Switch.
I moved down here. I'm closer to the door if I need to run. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm Joe O'Connor, the treasurer. This is my first year, and I wanted to drop back and thank, Don Taylor and Marty O'Shea for all the help they gave me in the transition into this position, and for the board, and their support, through the trials of this year. So what I want to do in this briefing today is a couple of objectives. First, I want to answer the question that many of you probably have is, what's the state of our finances in Saddlebrook 1? And then secondly, to shed some light on how your money, your community service fee, is allocated, throughout the year. Gives you a better understanding of where the money's coming from and how it's spent. So, first slide, please. Now, this is a very busy slide, and some of the items on this are going to be covered by the staff in later briefings, but I'll pull out some highlights here. First of all, we've had multiple years of improved performance financially within the association, and that's to credit of our excellent management and staff that we have here. Now, we're required to raise community service fees in 24 and 25 to deal with minimum wage increases and also with inflation. Operating cash balances remain strong. As you get your financial statement in a communicator every month, it shows in there how much money we have in operating cash. There's no worry about running out of money. These terms here, I just want to touch on them, that RRF is the Replacement Reserve Fund, and as Tom said, we're in good shape for that based on the reserve study that was done in 2003 and 2024. And then the CIF stands for the Community Improvement Fund. That's for new projects that we have planned for the future. And we'll be talking about, Vivian will be talking about new projects here in just a few minutes. Our investments are well positioned with the leadership of Bill Clarkin and the investment committee. Created over right around $350,000 in interest last year, which feeds into the cash position for the association. Golf continued to demonstrate excellent performance, contributing cash to the association. Food and beverage didn't meet guidance last year, but they're off to a roaring start this year with the new management of that operation. You'll hear more about that from Kelly in a few minutes. And the last one is a very important point, which I don't want to just gloss over, but we just completed an audit by an external auditing firm of all our records for the association. Came away with just a clean bill of health, which is continued for a continuation of many years of this same report, which is really hats off to the financial team that we have in place with the controller, with oversight provided by Vivian. Next slide, please. Now, we weren't without challenges last year. Let's look at supply chain management. The golf course has been waiting for equipment almost 3 years for equipment to maintain the golf course. And we continue to see some supply chain delays here in parts and supplies. So, and then the next challenge, increasing food cost. I don't have to tell anybody that goes to the grocery store. I know any of you could come to the mic and talk 10 minutes about this, but that's a real problem. And of course, you've seen on the menu that we've had to take prime rib off the option because of the exorbitant cost of that. Inflation is the big question. What's it going to be? We've got tariff discussions swirling around out there. There's a lot of uncertainty in terms of where the economy is going right now. Hopefully that'll settle down in the future. But inflation will have a big impact on the future, and hopefully we don't see that spiking again. And then the other challenge, the last one, is the minimum wage. That minimum wages will continue to increase, as we go forward based on the consumer price index. Next one. Let's talk a little bit about your community service fees, I go back here to 2017, bring it down to 25 and look at 26. We had several years before the fees were increased. This started in 2022 because of minimum wage legislation and inflation post-COVID. And then we're looking at next year an increase of about $15 a month is what's projected right now. One bit of news on this slide, which is very important, is that there's been no assessments in Saddlebrook 1 since 2013, and that was just a small assessment. And we all know, who read any of the social media boards, the impact of assessments on the well-being and the morale of an association. So we're very happy to see that. That's the next slide, please. Okay, where's the money coming from? Now I get into all of that. The money's coming in from some different sources, and if I were to add all of this up, about $5.8 million comes from our community service fees, but the total of all of it's a little over $7 million. And home resales is one area. Most of us know that when somebody buys a home, they have to pay 1 year's community service fees, and that increased about $50,000 from 2023. Here's the investments, about not quite $347,000 in investments income. Golf operations contributed a little over $380,000 to the cash position of the association. And then we have other fees and charges here. But you can see that while we got the community service fee, there's about $1.3 million coming in from all these sources over here, which keep the association in a pretty good state of health. Next one, please. Okay, where's the cash going? I'd like you to think of this as two charts side by side. Over here, we just see that if I add all of those up, it's about $7.5 million. But the important part I wanted to talk about is over here. In a homeowners association, when we come in here, we pay for all amenities, whether we use them or not. And the purpose of these amenities sometimes gets lost in the discussions about, well, I don't play tennis, why am I doing this? That type of discussion. But the purpose of these amenities is for health. They're all designed to give people the opportunity to exercise themselves physically, or when you look at the Arts and Crafts Center, the opportunity to explore and pursue your creative juices and things of that sort. So the amenities, we can see about $286 of your community service fee goes for that. Food and beverage, last year with about $15 a month to have restaurants open 7 days a week, 3 meals a day. But here's the part that sometimes gets overlooked here, services. And there we're looking at roads, common areas, patrol, facilities maintenance, and janitorial. $1,086 out of community service fees goes to pay for that. And I see John back there, he can tell you how expensive roads are. So again, we look at cash expenditures, admin, services, amenities, but this piece here, about little over $2.4 million is allocated to the reserve and capital improvement fund. So there's those dollars out of every one of our community service fees are going to build up that reserve and capital improvement fund. The next slide, please. So here's the replacement reserve fund, and just a reminder, replacement reserve dollars, the purpose of those dollars is to repair or replace assets that we currently have. Our operation teams, I know for CAP, keeps track of all of our assets, and I know last time I talked to you, John, I think it was over 1,600 items are tracked, down to pumps, air conditioners, everything that we have here. And so that dollars are to repair and replace them, and then the community service fees, as I said, are for new projects. But the amenities that the reserved dollars went to, tennis, pools, fitness center, activity, arts and craft. We had new pool tables. The fitness center got new equipment. The clubhouse got new furniture up here. The activity center, new furniture down there and upgraded. And arts and craft, we upgraded some items over there. And then in the area of roads, when we repair roads, we're taking replacement reserve dollars to do that. And then the common area, that has to be maintained. And if you've seen Patrick and his crew out at dawn in the morning cleaning the streets, trimming trees and things like that, there's a lot of work goes into maintaining the beauty of our community. And then patrol got some new equipment, facilities maintenance. They run around and fix everything that doesn't work on a day-to-day basis in janitorial. So that's where we take cash in, we spend cash, and then we also take dollars from the replacement reserve fund here to keep everything running around here. So in summary, I would back up and say that our assets comparing 2023 to 2024 are roughly the same. We've still got a little less than $10 billion in cash and CDs, and our property and equipment is roughly the same. And so total assets year over year are about the same. And I think I can say with 100% conviction that the HOA is well managed and in very strong financial health. Thank you.
Trade.
Okay, I think that sets it over to me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit, and then Mike Roddy's going to talk a little bit, and then Kelly's going to finish it up with some really good news about food and beverage. You have that good news, right? Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure. Okay, can we go to the next slide, please? One of the things, I talked to a lot of the residents all over the, I'm sorry? Something wrong? Oh, okay. Yeah, he's trying to tell you to turn off your mic. There we go. Got it, thank you. So one of the things, a lot of times I'll go to the Minute Mart, fill my car up with gas and stuff like that. And last year was kind of an interesting year because the same message was sent to me by all the residents here. It was like, we like what you're doing, we like what your team's doing, you guys are doing a great job, just don't get us in a hole. Don't spend too much money. And it's like, okay. And so we talked about this year about, well, what's the message that we want to send to the residents during this annual meeting? And I think we all agreed that the one thing that we're really trying to do, and I think that certainly golf and food and beverage have done a great job of doing over this past year, is identifying the stable road ahead. And the fact that we are fairly stable, we've learned a lot in the years that we've been here, and we've learned how to grasp what needs to be done so that we're not seeing huge swings one way or the other. We did transition in 1999, so we're under complete member control, which makes it a whole lot easier for us because we don't have a developer in the mix. We have a large HOA, we have a lot of home sites here, which you all are aware of. We are in a strong financial position that was just presented by Joe, which I appreciate. We had the RRF study done in 2024, and they came in and said, you're in great shape on your RRF, and you've got the cash flow. Obviously, we're not scrounging and saying, okay, we're only going to pay these 3 bills this month, and these other bills can wait till next month. We are paying them when they are due, and so we don't have a problem with cash flow, which is kind of refreshing. We have resident board support for improvements and maintenance. I know that over the 15 years that I've been here, we've spent at least $8 million on roads, and I didn't do it alone. John Labarge sitting out there, he spent all your money, by the way. I didn't spend it. Thank you, John. We really appreciate that. Done a great job in keeping with that, and obviously we're going to start Unit 21 here tomorrow, I believe, so that's good. We do have an experienced staff. They do understand what the implications of what they're doing. Oh boy. John Reed is sitting in the front row here, and I had to really think about what your name was, John. I apologize. But anyway, John just negotiated a few months ago a janitorial adjustment, reducing the contract costs. And that's a big deal because we do have an outside contractor come in here and clean the buildings at night. And that brought that price tag down about $12,000 a year. So huge impact in terms of looking at our contracts, looking to try and review them, and making sure that we are getting the best money for our dollar. All the signage production was brought in-house last year as well, so we're not going outside and doing the signs. You've noticed these beautiful signs that the Properties and Roads team, headed up by Tim Mahana and Debbie Muse and Susan Allen and Sandy are on the beautification committee, as well as Paul Rush was working on the signs for the plants outside. So you'll see all the plants have been identified and everything. All those signs were made in-house, saves a lot of money, gives us a lot more flexibility with what we're doing. There is more in-house staff. We are in a unique position here in HOA1. We have a facility staff that is actually 100% in-house. Typically, when you go to large organizations, they have ABM, American Building and Maintenance, or a large company coming in and doing facilities maintenance, because it is truly a lost art. And it's hard to find facility maintenance people. John will tell you all about that. But it's difficult to find those people. When you find it, it's like finding a gold nugget in the sand, because they can come in and they can do things. If a light's not working, they can trace down where's the wire problem and what breaker is handling what and all that good stuff. Doesn't sound like a major problem, but it is if you don't have the right staff in place. So having that right staff, and John's done a great job of bringing that staff along and developing that staff and making sure that they know where everything's at and making sure that they're keeping the place in the condition that we want to see it. So that's been a big thing, because that reduces our contractor costs, charges, but it also gives us that immediate, if we need something fixed immediately, we can do it. Can you go to the next slide? Thank you. So take a look at labor costs. I always like to look at this. Back in 2017, labor was about 52.6% of the budget. Today, it's about 54.1% in 2024. In 2016, that's when the Affordable Care Act came out. That was a challenge for us. Minimum wage jumped in the state of Arizona from $8 an hour up to $12 an hour in a few years, and we had to deal with that as well. There's been a lot of challenges over the years. I think we've been able to weather them, and we've gotten a little bit more efficient with our staff, which has helped us keep those costs we're still in the 50 percentiles, so I feel pretty good about that. You go to the next slide? Thank you. So what's administration doing to make sure that things are stable? Well, the first thing we did, we focused on IT, cybersecurity, and stability. And we have this thing called the Mastergy software. Rich Sandoval's not here today. He's over in Las Vegas. He's meeting with Kaseya. Kaseya is a company that handles our disaster recovery as well as our IT glue programs that we're bringing on. Those are important because they involve somewhat of cybersecurity, and he believes he can get, Mastergy is actually purchased through Comcast, and he believes he can reduce the costs with our cybersecurity through Kaseya. So he was telling me, he says, Vivian, I think I could save about $6,000 a year, and I said, well, yeah, go talk to them. They're having a big convention there. It's an AI convention at the same time. They have about 6,000 professionals over at the MGM Grand right now, trying to figure out how to keep everybody safe and make sure that things aren't hacked. So our focus on ID and cybersecurity is a big deal, because it just kind of gives you that peace of mind that our information is safe. We don't have to worry about it. Mastergy is a 7x24 monitoring software. So if in the middle of the night somebody tries to get in, we get notified immediately. Somebody's trying to get into your system. And what they do is they knock it and then they sock it. So basically they knock it out and then they put it in a sock and then they say, okay, what do you want us to do with this? Because we have this information about it. And this is even, the last cyber attack we had was late last year. It was actually coming through a monitoring system over in our golf course maintenance area. And it was just an area that had been left open, but we socked it right away and we got rid of it. So I feel really comfortable with this particular software, because it is 7x24. We've got somebody on the other end actually watching our system 7x24. Obviously, we put the disaster recovery system in place, and like I talked about, it's cloud-based, but Kaseya was the software we used. We do have collaboration with the local HOAs. We're looking at the next meeting, if you stick around, and I don't think y'all will, but if you did, you'd get an opportunity to hear about how we talked to all the neighboring HOAs about what software they're using for club software, what problems did you have, what were your solutions, and how that played into our decision for going forward with our software as well. So it's been a great opportunity for us to work with our sister HOAs. We did negotiate, I don't know if you folks knew this, but property insurance is going up. You probably didn't know that, but we were really happy. Last year we were able to negotiate a 3-year lock on our commercial insurance, which we're really happy about. So basically what we're paying this year, we'll be paying in 2026 and 2027 as well. So that's a lock with Cincinnati, one of the largest carriers of HOA insurance. As you can see, our administration spending in 2023 was $1.7 million, went up about $100,000 to 1.8. Primarily that is in labor. I mean, it's not inexpensive to have a staff, to have a strong staff of people that are working, and that shows it right there. Can you go to the next slide, please? So I broke these down. It's a little different than Joe's slides because he's got those pretty pie charts, and I like the pie charts. This actually shows what the differences were from year to year. You can see the clubhouse really climbed. It went from 585 to 737. That's property insurance. That was what we saw hit at that point in time. The depreciation is also in these numbers, by the way. But you can see that basically the Activity Center, Arts and Crafts Clubhouse, those are all buildings, and they saw significant increases, and the reason for that was because of property insurance. That's the thing that really drove those more than anything else. Next slide. And then we got the common area roads. We did a lot of work on the roads this last year. Tuckered John out. He's all tired. He's going to have a 90th birthday on Thursday, so he deserves it. So happy birthday, John. But anyway, we did $500,000 last year, more than we did the previous year. Fitness center actually came down a little bit on costs to run the fitness center. Maintenance went up a little bit, and patrol, again, a slight increase to patrol. So those are the differences. So we spent 2.6 in 2023 up to 3.2 in 2024. And the next slide, please. So what's our challenges from an operations staff and an admin staff? And it's really, we're trying to use staff to identify efficiencies. We hire when needed to give more support and flexibility, but we don't want to overhire. I think that's going to be the main thing, that we want to get the right amount of people in the right places. And I think that it's always said aces in their places, so that's what we're looking for here. We continue to cross-train across different departments to provide more flexible workforce operations. So if F&B can help us out in operations, a lot of times they do a lot of work through our shutdown. When we shut down the building, you'll see a lot of F&B people in here working side by side with the maintenance staff. We are going to hopefully begin implementation of a member-centered software. If we get approval this afternoon, the department champions are going to be owners of this process. And what I mean by that is the way that it's going to work is each department will have a ownership, and it's obviously going to be the directors. It's going to be Mike Roddy's. It's going to be the Kelly Evanses. It's going to be the accounting group. It's going to be myself, and we're going to be actually owning this software, making sure that it gets implemented correctly into our systems and stuff. So there's a lot of ownership. We've got to be able to grasp it and move forward, because this is going to be our future. We do see this going where the rest of the HOAs are currently at, but the last time in 2012, I'll tell you, back in 2012, we went from Club Systems over to IBS. We were the trailblazers, if you will, and we took all the knocks and the bruises and everything. This time around, I think we played it a little safer. We let everybody else take the knocks and bruises and find out what's wrong with the softwares, and we're kind of following at this point, which I think is in a better position than being the trailblazer. So we're excited about that opportunity, and I think I get to turn it over to Mike Roddy right now. Let's take a look. Oh no, we've got some major projects: software training and development, new website development, the road resurfacing, which I said starts tomorrow, common area cleanup and beautification still going on. They did the corners at the Saddlebrook Boulevard and Ridgeview. You've seen a little bit of cleanup there, and we're definitely doing cleanups in Unit 21. We've done a lot of work behind the houses down there. And then we will have a town hall to identify costs for the upgraded arts and crafts building and the expanded group fitness area. This summer, we will have that town hall, so we're still waiting for the drawings to be finalized, and then we can go out for bid, and then we can get some actual costs on that to identify exactly what is it going to cost the residents, and then then this room will be filled, because we will have a lot of people wondering, okay, how much money are we looking at spending on the Creative Arts and Wellness Center that we've been talking about for so long? And now I think I get to turn it over to Mike Roddy. Yes, there we go. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. Stability in golf, it does exist here at HOA1. Before we kind of go through some of the stability aspects in our golf program, I'd like to point out kind of one of the big differences that we have here at HOA1. We're really the only true private HOA golf facility in the area. When you look at all the other HOAs that are around us, that everybody wants to compare us to on a regular basis, we're really different in that we only allow play from our residents and their guests. All of the other HOAs allow public play, even to the point where they're selling memberships to people who do not live in those communities. So that gives us a stable bedrock of golfers here. We aren't as susceptible maybe to ups and downs in the golf market as maybe some of the other associations are. We have had very stable participation. One of the things I'm very proud of is how much of that COVID boost that we experienced. We did almost 91,000 rounds of golf here during COVID. We've held on to almost 10,000 rounds of that boost, and that's become our stable baseline for rounds on an annual basis. We continue to focus on growth of the game. Actively engaging new golfers. We started a beginners league here in 2025. We've had over almost 100 participants in that beginners league this year, so we're really excited about where that can go moving forward. Lessons and clinics are well attended and continue to bring new golfers to the game. The golf courses are managed for year-round playability. We're open 364 days a year. So we want to have as good of conditions as we can, no matter what time of year it is. And we're proactively managing the golf courses accordingly. The community is giving us the resources to do the necessary work in the summer so that we can have conditions like we have right now this time of year, even with well over 80,000 rounds of golf going through the facility. And the team approach, Kelly sitting to my left, we work hand in hand with F&B. We want to make sure that we have seasonal events that people can count on and expect, as well as work with F&B to create new events and have cohesive events from out on the golf course to the social aspect that ends here in the clubhouse. We work really hard to make sure that that's a stable part of the golf operation here at HOA1. So there's a look at our rounds. You can see that spike in 2020, over almost 91,000 rounds of golf. But since then, we're in the low 80s on an annual basis. So definitely stability from a participation standpoint in golf here at Saddlebrook One. Annual membership. Another area, we've had some growth here, but I think we're very, very happy with our membership base and the stability that it provides on an annual basis. Almost 460 annual members currently. Revenue. We've grown from a annual revenue of maybe a little over $2.5 million to almost $3.5 million over the last 6 years. So good growth and then stability from a net cash positive revenue standpoint on an annual basis. Golf continues to deliver that, I think, on an annual basis for the HOA. A look ahead at the rest of 2025 and beyond. We want to continue to challenge ourselves to maintain the use and interest in the golf courses. keep golfers engaged, provide the expected experience while adding new options to our events, working with food and beverage, continue to add to the golfing population. So our beginners league, teaching technologies, clinics, our demo days, exposing people to the game. Course experience focus, continue to work with the community to continue to address the playability issues, maintain positive playing experience with course design and conditioning improvements. So we're always focused on making things better and balancing our new ideas with traditions and expectations, which I think is a definition of stability for us in the golf department. Our major projects in 2025, we have a golf shop refresh project that will begin in August. We're excited to update and modernize the interior finishes and shopping experience in the golf shop. Continue the bunker sand replacement. We'll be doing that on all 3 golf courses this summer, not just on 1 or 2 like the last couple years. We'll be providing a presentation in the next meeting, so if you want to hear about that, stick around. We're going to be replacing hopefully the backhoe and the skid loader that's used by both golf and common area. And then we'll be coming to the board later in the year with some future improvements in 2026 to the Tucson golf course. So those are the major projects that we have on the slate for the rest of this year.
You can turn it over.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Kelly now.
Thank you.
Oh, is this working? Okay, perfect. All right, so the stable road ahead in food and beverage. So we are a private club. Our customer base does not change, which gives us a lot of stability on who's coming in to eat. We have the stability of menu and service style creativity, so we're given that full range to listen to residents and also try new food items out. We've got connections with local vendors, which have stayed really stable and also created new ones. This allows us for lower cost on inventory, and it also directly reflects lower cost to the residents. Is this going in and out? Can I switch you? Okay. Closer? Okay. Farther away. Okay. We adjusted the bar areas in both the Agave and the Roadrunner Grill to provide a stable service experience, allowing 3 bartenders to operate on our busy evenings and allowing more efficiency to get drinks out to everybody. And then we also increased the food and beverage management staff about a year ago, which has given our hourly team members more oversight, more training, and more face-to-face interactions with the residents from a member of food and beverage management. Next. Okay, so financials. If you look over at January, February, and March in blue, you'll see our 2025 results well exceeding 2022 and growing over the previous years as well. So we do see an increase in sales, and I think one of the biggest reflections of that is on Thursday, Friday night with our additional seating in the fireplace areas. We're able to seat that right away at 4 o'clock and keep it flipped throughout the evening. Hardly ever saying goodbye to anybody without getting them in on a Thursday or Friday and serving them dinner. Next. Challenges in 2024. So the biggest challenge was finding consistency in dining hours. And we did that by hiring reliable staff and realigning the staff that we had. The expansion of the management team greatly helped that to just make sure we have oversight at all hours that we're open. We evaluated a possible expansion of the Roadrunner Grill hours. That resulted in Sunday, Monday, Tuesday from 3 to 7 p.m. having that limited happy hour offering so that we have a dinner option 7 days a week. We identified the product mix for residents. We have happy hour with food and then also drinks only. We looked at kind of balancing those two out while also not taking away from our busy Thursday and Friday nights upstairs. We added the Friday fish po' boy. That was a direct request from a resident. That's something that I love to hear and will do my best to get on a menu, whatever you would like. We have the Saturday night pizza that's served in the Agave and the Vistas. And then we replaced prime rib night with home style night, a different offering every week. You get your choice of appetizer, super salad, you get your entree that Chef Dylan and his team come up with, and a dessert. And then we also looked at some people saying, hey, this meal's way too big, so you can also just purchase the home style entree. So we do look at that product mix, smaller plates, and what do people want to see on their menu. Next. Okay, bottom line performance. So if you look at 2025, for the first quarter, we're at $4,363 on our subsidy, and this time last year, we were about $44,000 on our subsidy. So we've saved about $40,000 already in the first quarter. Next, thank you. Okay, a look ahead at the rest of 2025 and beyond. So our biggest challenge in these next few months is going to be revenue driving from May to December. We have to be on the ball with labor balance when our snowbirds leave, making sure that we scale back appropriately to still give great service but not overdo it on the labor spend. We're going to continue successful events and also introduce new ones. We just had a really successful paint and sip night here in the Vermilion Room. We invited guests to the Roadrunner Grill yesterday for a fun game of water pong, and we continue with the successful Grillin' and Chillin' and Chef's Table throughout the summer as well. And then we will continue negotiation on product costs. So Chef Dylan and I, with our two main suppliers, are constantly going back and forth. Hey, here's the price of turkey at this supplier. What can you do for us? So we will continue that throughout the summer. Next slide. And then our major F&B projects, we're going to expand our keg cooler for safety purposes. So a couple communicator articles ago, I wrote about how we scaled down the number of draft beers that we have on tap, and it's still not enough to get in there and safely change a keg for our team and for our vendors who are delivering our kegs. So we are going to look at expanding that cooler. We're going to prepare for a new club software integration, which you'll hear about at our next meeting. And then we're going to renovate the dishwashing station up here in the Vistas. Thank you. Back over to Vivian.
So thank you. Interest of the community. The HOA is financially strong. The HOA is in compliance with Arizona HOA laws and our governing documents. We will continue to hold our regular board meetings and comply with Arizona's open meeting law and continue to be transparent with our communications. We will continue to maintain our common areas and to protect our home values. The board and the committees do not micromanage, as there is no need with the management team led by Vivian as GM. Vivian and her team are dedicated to making life in Saddlebrook the dream that we all live each day. So a big thank you to Vivian, her management team, and all the volunteers, committee chairs, committee members, who make this community such a great place to live. So thank you to all of you. And now we have time for homeowner comments and questions. If you could come up to the microphone, state your first and last name, the unit number and lot number, and we'll try to limit it to 2 minutes per homeowner.
He's going to turn it on for you. Can you make it lower as well?
Yeah, sure. How's that? Perfect. Good, you bet.
Hi, my name is Marilyn Anthony. You want lot number 3 and Am I supposed to know my? I think it's no. Unit number 3, lot number 153. I think. Too many numbers. So I have a question. I have actually 2 questions. One is, has there been any thought to having solar hot water put in for the pool, for the showers that we held use in the gyms and the swimming pool? Ever?
Yes, we've thought about it.
Yes,
Those things where finding the right application for it, because there's a lot of different products out there that really don't last in the sun. They do a good job, but they don't last in the sun. But we
Oh.
have to look at it some more.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay, I got it. John indicated that there's a lot of different products out there. They don't, unfortunately, last very well in our hot Arizona sun. And so they are continuing to look at it, but they haven't found a solution that would work well for us.
Okay, second question, and last question. You said, I saw in the numbers that you're spending about $189,000 on the pools. Is that mostly for heating of the pool? Because, I mean, the pool hasn't had any major, I'm a lot pool swimmer, so I don't know about the other one, but there
Right.
haven't been any major renovations except for the shower that was put in years ago.
No, that's that includes a depreciation cost on the pools. So there's a sizable number there, but definitely includes all the chemicals and all the heating and the work that's, if we're I know we painted the decks last year, probably around this time, actually. I think we painted all the decks and stuff like that, which doesn't sound like a major deal. The paint itself, I think, was like $2,500. So it's those costs along with the depreciation that drive that dollar figure.
A number of years ago, we had a petition that was up to get a roof on the lap pool so that we could use it 12 months a year. Swimming there when the wind is going and when it's cold is not pleasant, shall we
Right.
say, especially from the wind. Has there been any discussion about
Yeah, there
that?
was discussion in the Properties and Roads meeting that was presented to the Properties and Roads team. And basically, they looked at it and they identified it as that would be nice to have, but definitely a want more than a need at this particular point in time from a cost standpoint and what we were doing. I mean, we spent, and you have you've got to balance everything. Obviously, we spent $734,000 last year on the roads, so that was a big year for roads. It's, we're spending a lot of money on common area right now because we are trying to decrease the amount of vegetation and stuff. We've done some major work over in Unit 21 doing that. So I think a lot of it is just trying to balance. But again, the Properties and Roads Committee did look at it, and unfortunately, they came back and came back with a no.
Is there anything they can do to cut down on the wind? I mean, even if we don't get a roof, because it's the wind that really, it's a real killer.
I'm kind of surprised that's a problem with the walls as high as they are, but I can.
Oh, well, it's a real. I don't know if you've ever been in the lap pool, but boy, the wind just. You can see there's the flags, and
Right.
and they go from down to up.
straight across.
And
Okay.
it's really something. Just trying to swim against it, and it's cold when the wind's blowing. So, if they can think of some sort of solution for that, then that's obviously within financial reason.
Right.
Then that'd be great.
Okay,
Thank you.
we'll approach them. Thank you.
Good afternoon, board members. Harry Ford, Unit 21, Lot 2, since 2004, 51 years in HOAs. The Saddlebrook One mission is enhanced property values. Over the last 2 years, the average sales price at Saddlebrook One homes are down almost $27,000, or $55.5 million for the 2,000 homes. While Saddlebrook 2 was up. The top 10 retirement communities in the United States include 2 in Arizona, Sun City West and Robeson Ranch, Arizona. Saddlebrook used to be number 3 in the United States and number 1 in Arizona, but no more. If you allocate $3.6 million of extremely high overhead, like a real business, to the amenities, 60% of residents who don't use food and beverage are paying $1,100 per year to have a restaurant to go to. After overhead allocation, for an estimated 70% of residents that are not regular golfers are paying $990 a year to be able to walk on the cart path during limited hours. In my opinion, this is a long-term problem. A new resident coming in will have a $45,000 unfunded reserve liability over the next 30 years, compared to some of our competitors who have a much higher reserve funded liability. I will be voting for new board members who are looking out after the majority of homeowners and who do a third-party plan, strategic plan, with high-quality competitive analysis like our competitors. Any questions?
No, thank you, Harry.
Oh, and by the way, I put all this information in writing for last month. Thank you.
Hi, Richard Spitzer, Unit 21, Lot 102. I have heard that only 20% of residents golf. I've heard that just now that 30% are golfing. Last time we did a survey, I thought it was 47%. Mike, do you have any idea what percentage of HOA 1 people golf?
What was the last number? Mike does not remember the last number that we had. I know it is higher than 20%, and it's actually higher than 30%. We have a lot of residents here that their kids come in and golf, and they don't golf. So if you turn around and look at that, I mean, it is a higher number. But what we can do is we'll pull the last survey, and we will publish the number for you.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Sorry to put you on the spot, Mike.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Kaplan. I have no idea what lot and everything, but I live at East Round Robin Road, if that means anything. It's got a 5-digit number, 64 something. I came here 6 months ago from New York State, where we have numbers of houses that run consecutively, like one, and it's on one side of the street, two's on the other side, and it goes like that. So it's easy to remember. But anyway, in regards to the golf issue, I did relocate here. I like to play golf, and I really enjoy the amenities here at Saddlebrook, for one. One thing that I have noticed is that this is a retirement community. And I think there are a lot of people that live here that get elderly where they can't play golf as much as they would like to. So that number can be skewed because they don't want to pay the $3,800 or $4,000 a year to play golf if they live here all year round. And I think that the amenities here at Saddlebrook are fantastic. I have not used all the amenities. There's just so many, and we're new here, and we're still feeling our way about the thing. But I think you guys are doing a really wonderful job. Looking at the finances of this place, I don't mind paying my fair share, even if I'm not using that particular thing. I don't do arts and crafts, but somebody else might. So I don't mind paying for that, and I just don't mind paying for some of that because this is the whole community. So I'm sorry if I am overstepping my bounds by speaking, but I just want to tell you that I'm really happy to live here. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Joe Meegan. My wife Nancy and I moved here last January, and we've been thrilled. Beautiful place, lovely amenities. We've been having a great time. So I just have two questions. One has to do with the dues. So Joe talked about the increase for 2025 and 2024. I think it was 6% each year, so about 12%. I'm trying to square that with the commentary, Tom, you had made with respect to the outside service looking at our reserves, saying we're doing even better than we need to. So if we're doing better than we need to on the reserve, it seems like 6% a couple of years in a row feels a little heavy when you consider the reserve situation. So I'd be interested in your comment on that.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the inflation being on the conservative side. That is in case we have unexpected expenses, rather a little bit higher annual CSF than it is to go out to vote and ask the residents to pay for a special assessment.
Yeah.
So I think that's the rationale. When the Finance Committee puts together the budget, bean counters are very conservative. And so they're looking at, let's make sure we have enough, rather to go 6% one year and be able to drop down to 2 the next year than start at 2 and then have to go to 6.
Gotcha.
So that's the rationale.
Yeah, Tom's right. We are struggling right now as a state in Arizona with minimum wage. The lawmakers really don't know what to do, and so they're still trying to figure it out because the cities have actually gone away from the state. In other words, Flagstaff, the minimum wage up in Flagstaff is $17 an hour. Tucson's raised it to $15. The actual minimum wage for the state is $14.70. So they're sitting there going, okay, what do we do with minimum wage? Because all these cities are going past us because they don't think we're charging enough for minimum wage. So we never really know where our minimum wage lines are going to run. And although we really don't pay people minimum wage, what that does though is does a wage compression. So in other words, we have landscapers that are making $18, $19, $20 an hour. If minimum wage jumps quite a bit, then we want to adjust those salaries accordingly. And the other problem, and we'll talk about this in the next meeting a little bit more, we're actually going in for some new software. And so obviously we need some new servers. And here's the deal. Dell has told us if you order them by May 8th, you won't have to pay the tariff. Mm-hmm. So we're not sure what's going on with tariffs either. So I think that Tom's right. We're going in with a very conservative approach next year. I think you're going to see in if we're wrong, you're going to see that come crashing down in 2027.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Second item has to do with, as a new owner, we're uncertain. We have a corner lot. We're in Unit 3 South, lot 61, I think. And it's in the corner on East Round Robin Lane. And so we've got a wall, and then there's about 12 feet of gravel and plantings between the wall and the road. Is that homeowner responsibility?
No, because I don't know exactly where you're at, but we can take a look at it and we can let you know. Most of the time it is homeowners, but a lot of that area was deemed part of the drainage for the association. So the drainage areas are actually common areas, but we'll have to take a look at yours in particular.
Okay, I did get a number of a guy named Patrick, I think, to call.
That's the guy.
I'll call him.
Yeah, Patrick's up in Sholo this week, though. He decided to take a week off, which is
nothing
good.
Urgent.
Yeah, okay.
Some of the plantings are in rough shape, so we just
Excellent.
didn't know.
Okay.
And then the last thing, and I'll sit down after I ask the question because it may take a little while to answer. It has to do with the plans for the new arts and crafts and expansion of the facilities. I wasn't able to attend the meeting when you gave a talk about that. Can you just, and maybe some other people are a little bit in the dark as I am, maybe you could just give us a little bit of information about what the plan is, what you're looking to do.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks for giving me the opening. I appreciate that. The number one trend right now in active adult communities in terms of physical fitness is group fitness. And we recognize the fact that we have a group fitness area right now that is 460 square feet. We need a bigger group fitness where people can exercise together. They like to do drumming, they like to do Zumba, they like to do jazzercise, all the items they like to do in a class setting. And basically what's happening right now is a lot of the HOA1 people are running over to HOA2 and they're filling up their classes. And the HOA2 people are complaining because they can't get into classes. I mean, this is a real dichotomy here, a real problem for both HOAs. We just need more exercise space. So that was basically what started the whole thing about let's take a look at arts and crafts. Our arts and crafts building was built in 1990. It is not ADA certified. It does have some safety issues, and we want to bring that ADA compliance up, and we also want to add that square footage so that we can get that group fitness center. We're looking at about 2,200 square feet to go to for this group fitness center, which we believe will satisfy the residents that we have here, and we can get them up and moving, because the number one thing you want to do in an active adult community is continue to move. Continuing to move and continuing to exercise, it's been proven that it improves your quality of life, and we definitely want to keep everybody's quality of life here up as much as we possibly can. In addition to that, we have several arts and crafts areas that have not been renovated. That's the only building we haven't touched. We've renovated we did a major renovation of this facility back in 2006. We've renovated the activity center. We renovated the Catalina Recreation Center. We've renovated all of our buildings. Even the tennis center got an expansion of their area in 2015, but we haven't touched that building. And again, let's go back to the creative side, so the mental and creative acumen for people, again, keeping that high. Again, extends that quality of life and really makes a difference. So what John Reed, who's sitting in the second row here, is doing is he's trying to add about 8,500 square feet to that building and expand our arts and crafts facilities a little bit, really add the 2,200 of it is going directly to group fitness. But, and then also we're going to have a nice courtyard, hopefully, and just basically something that is architecturally pleasing as well as improves home values, because that's really what we're all about here. We want to keep, obviously you folks want someplace nice to come, and that's the reason why no one when they spent the money on the clubhouse, didn't have a problem with it. Spent the money on the activity center. They spent the money on the golf courses to make sure that the golf courses were maintained and improved. I mean, this is a group of people here that really want to keep that common area in great shape to make people want to move here. Right now, in 2010, we expanded the fitness center, and one of the things that the realtors do if they're bringing in new clients, one of the first place they come is the clubhouse, because we have a gorgeous view of the golf courses and the mountains. But the next place they're headed is over to the fitness center, and to show them, you know, we do have a fitness center here, and it does show well. The problem is it's small. So I know that if we do go forward with the new building, it's going to become another showplace to help with home values. So we're excited about the project. It's one that's been long in the making. And we should have, where we're at right now is John and his team, along with Properties and Roads, has been talking to the residents for several months now and making sure that they've got the right plans and the right detail, and they've incorporated everything they need to. It will go out for bid hopefully within the next month or so. Then we'll give the bidders at least 6-7 weeks to bid on it, and then we're going to come back to the residents and we're going to say, this is what it's going to cost. What do you want us to do? So basically, that's where we're at. That's where we're headed. So we are going to have a town hall. We hope to have it in June. Looks like it's going to get probably pushed to July, but it will be on tape. It will go out to everyone that, you know, the Minnesotans that are back in Minnesota enjoying the lakes and everything in July will be able to see exactly what's going on here, along with a lot of information will be published so everyone can see everything, the presentations and everything. So thank you for asking. We're excited about the project, and hopefully we'll have more information for you in a couple of months. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other resident questions or comments? If not, we'll be adjourning the meeting, and then immediately following is our regular monthly board meeting. So thank you all very much for coming. We appreciate you.